He stood behind the stage curtains, his trembling fingers clutching the frayed collar of his thrift store leather jacket, the closest thing he had to the outfit worn by his idol, the man he'd spent his whole life imitating, and escaping into it. His name was Rafael Morales, a soft-spoken janitor from a small town in the Philippines. But tonight, at least for the next few minutes, he hoped to become someone else. Someone stronger. Someone untouchable. Someone whose voice could drown out the noise of heartbreak, poverty, and every painful moment life had thrown his way out. He hoped to become Elvis, but hope was a fragile thing tonight, because even as he stood there, preparing to perform on one of the biggest stages in the world, he could still hear the words that had shattered him just months earlier. "Papa, promise you'll keep singing, even when I'm gone." His daughter's voice still echoed like a wound that refused to close, and that was why Rafael had come here, not for fame, not to be discovered, not even to win it. He came to keep his promise. The lonely walk to the spotlight. Contestant number 47, you're on next. The stagehand's voice snapped him out of the memory. Rafael tried to steady his breathing. His knees felt weak, like the weight of his grief was pulling them down. He stepped forward, each footstep felt like it carried the whole world, each breath felt borrowed, each second felt like a countdown to something he wasn't sure he was ready for. When the lights hit him, he froze. The judges sat before him, the legends he'd only seen on television. And there, at the center, was the one person who terrified him the most, Simon Cowell. Rafael swallowed hard, his mouth had gone dry, his jacket suddenly felt heavier than his own body. "Hello," Simon said, his tone neutral but direct. "What's your name?" "Rafael, sir," he answered. "And why are you here today?" Rafael hesitated, because he couldn't say the real reason, that if he did, he feared he might fall apart right there on the stage. So he said the safest lie he could think of. I just want to sing, sir." Simon nodded. "All right, Rafael. The stage is yours." When the music began, his heart broke open. The soft instrumental of "Can't Help Falling in Love" began, but Rafael didn't sing, not yet, because the moment the first notes echoed across the auditorium, a wave of grief crashed over him so hard his vision blurred that he saw his daughter again, frail, wrapped in thin hospital sheets, asking him to sing her lullabies when the pain was too much to bear. She used to smile when he did Elvis. She thought he sounded just like the real one. But the last time he sang for her, her small hand slipped out of his, her eyelids fluttered shut, and the beeping stopped. He never finished the song that night, and he had never forgiven himself for it. Now, on this stage, the weight of that unfinished song pressed against his chest until he could barely breathe. The audience whispered, the judges exchanged glances. Simon leaned forward. "Rafael, are you all right?" And then, as though something inside him cracked, Rafael whispered, "I'm sorry, it's just, this was my daughter's favorite song." A hush fell across the entire hall. Even Simon's expression softened. "Take your time," he said quietly. He sang through his tears. Rafael inhaled, not to gather courage, but to gather the broken pieces of himself. Then he sang. His voice trembled, cracked, and wavered. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't polished, but it was real, raw. A man singing not to impress the world, but to reach someone he had lost forever. People in the audience began wiping their eyes. One judge pressed a hand over her mouth. Even the cameraman had to blink away tears to keep filming. The deeper Rafael went into the song, the more powerful his voice became, like his grief was turning into something that carried him instead of crushing him. And then, in the middle of a long note, his voice broke completely. He covered his face, his shoulders shook. He whispered, "I'm sorry, Anik. I'm so sorry." There was no music now. No singing, just a man grieving in front of millions. But the auditorium didn't judge him. They held their breath with him, they cried with him, they felt him. Simon's reaction for once. Simon didn't cut him off. Didn't criticize. Didn't interrupt. He just listened. And when Rafael finally finished, a whisper of a final note, the auditorium erupted into a standing ovation that shook the room. Every judge stood, people shouted his name, some cried openly, but Rafael didn't feel any of it. He only felt empty, like he had finally let go of something he'd been holding too long. Simon cleared his throat, visibly emotional. "Rafael," he said softly, "I've heard thousands of singers in my life. But what you did, what you shared with us, that wasn't a performance. That was a father's love." Rafael looked down, tears dripping onto the stage floor, and, Simon continued, "Your daughter. I promise you, she would have been proud of you tonight." The words hit Rafael like sunlight after a storm. Another ovation shook the room, but this time, he felt it. He truly felt it. After the audition backstage, people hugged him, producers praised him, other contestants shook his hand, touched by the heartbreak and beauty of his song. But the moment that mattered most came when a small girl, no older than his daughter when she first fell ill, approached him shyly. "Sir," she whispered, "my mom brought me here to watch, and when you sang, it felt like my heart could hear you." Her mother apologized, but Rafael shook his head and knelt down. "What's your name, sweetheart?" Luna. Luna, thank you. You just gave me the biggest gift today. As the girl walked away, Raphael felt something lift inside him, like the world wasn't as heavy as before, like singing wasn't a burden anymore, like maybe, just maybe, he was finally healing the final message. Raphael didn't win the competition, but he won back something far more important: his voice, his purpose, and the promise he made to his daughter. Every time he performed afterward, he carried her memory with him, not as a wound, but as a guiding light.